Hello to my dear friends, how are you? This is question and answer day. It is Saturday and I have been asked the question, how do I pack the backpack going on an outing as far as briefs are concerned? This is an incontinence question and answer. Second question is, how do I go about changing Micah in public or other people? Now, I can't really answer for other people. I'm not sure exactly what they do, but I can tell you what we do for Micah. And I do have Micah in the video, so you're going to see her at the end, and you're going to see Dad and Bo, and I'm going to show you just a little bit of what we're still working on the house with. But to answer your question, we have a backpack that stays on Micah's wheelchair, on her electric wheelchair when she goes to her day program. In that backpack, we have, I think, 2 or 3, I didn't look before I got on camera, but we have 2 or 3 pull-ups, 2 or 3 tab briefs, and maybe 3 minimum of liners in there so that she's just ready at any given time to have products if she needs them. Our van is not wheelchair accessible. We got this van a few years ago. We needed to have guardianship before we could get a lift before we could get a lift in it, because the lift is funded. They're about $5,000, at least they were years ago. They're still somewhere in the range of $5,000. There's funding for that, but you have to be a legal guardian. Now Mike is 27. The last lift that we got, she was under 19. So we didn't have to worry about this. We are now legal guardians, but the van has 100 and something thousand miles. It's something like 170, 180,000 miles. So we decided, even though we're guardians, we decided to put off putting a lift in this van, waiting to get another van with less mileage, and then putting a lift in that van, as opposed to putting it in this one and at some point changing the lift over. If we get into another van, you can replace a lift every 5 years. Big pieces of equipment, insurance will allow you to get a new lift, get a new wheelchair, things like that. That story was to tell you we have a manual wheelchair in the van when we're transporting Micah anywhere besides when we're transporting her ourselves. So when I take her to the doctor, when we go to church, any kind of outing that she's going to. In the van, I recently packed up a backpack that would stay with the manual chair, so we don't have to transfer the bag back and forth, because I'm not very good at remembering. And most of the time we're just going to church, and I don't really need that big bulky bag that she carries every day. So I put a bag together. I will link the video for that, telling you everything that's in that bag, but specifically for briefs, I don't have any pull-ups in there, because putting a pull-up on would require me to lay Micah down in order to put that on. If she's wearing tights, it requires completely taking the tights, AFOs, that would be her leg braces, and taking off her shoes. I'm not going to be doing that if I'm out somewhere and she has an accident. I have 2 briefs and 3 liners in there, so that if we go out, I'm prepared. And let's say we go out and I need one of those, and I don't replace it, then I've still got one for another outing if I need it. That's how I pack that. Going to the bathroom, I made a discovery, and I'm going to make a whole video on it, and this is reminding me of that video. We recently went to Indianapolis for our oldest son's graduation, Indiana Bible College. It was about 10 hours, I think, going down, and it took us longer to get home. It was over 11 hours coming home. But we stopped every 2-3 hours and took Micah to the bathroom. I would take her to the bathroom. Somebody else would help me get her out. Usually Dad would help me get her out, help me get her back in the van. But then I would take her to the bathroom. I had a lot of problems in the hotel room. I hurt my back at least 3 times. Not anything real bad, but I did hurt it a little bit at least 3 times, and it was really because the space was cramped, and I'm trying to get in between Micah. One time I had to take the footrest off of the wheelchair and So we had the toilet, we had the wheelchair with Micah in it, and I'm standing in front of her. I had to take the footrest off of the chair and then stand Micah up and say, okay, Micah, let's go sideways. And then we sort of went sideways in there, and then I tried to get, around the toilet and get behind Micah and get her in there, and it was just bizarre. It took me a long time on some of these times to go to the bathroom. One time, we went to a restaurant after the graduation, and it was, they only had 2 stalls in the bathroom. This is kind of getting off. I'll get back to where I was really going, but I have to tell you this story. There were 2 stalls. They had the big wheelchair stall, and then they had the little bitty tiny one, and it looked excessively small. I didn't even bother to look in there. Somebody had locked the big door from the inside, and I am wearing some of my dressiest clothes that I have in my closet, dry clean only. And I have Micah in there, and I need to take her to the bathroom because we've already been all the way through the graduation. It's after 10 o'clock at night. Family has sat down to order, and I'm in here in the bathroom, and I have to do something. So I get down on the floor like a snake, and I had to wriggle my way on the floor and get underneath the door and then reach my hand up and unlock it, throw the door out, and then get back up and take Micah. There were a lot of crazy things that I did on this trip taking her to the bathroom. Micah is able to hold herself up so she can walk when you're holding on to her. So I could get her out of the wheelchair and walk her into, usually I always took the whole wheelchair into the bathroom, except in the hotel. There wasn't any room in the hotel. But anywhere we went, I would take the whole wheelchair in, and then I would just maneuver around the best I could. If either one of us were any bigger, there's no way I could have done that. I would have had to have left the wheelchair out in the hallway, and I just never really wanted to do that because we were in not rest areas. We were in gas stations, and it just made it too crowded outside the bathroom to even leave the chair there. Lauren was with us, and I could have done the scenario different, but that's just not what I did at the spur of the moment. I just took the chair in. So at home, what we do, take her out of her, because the bathroom at home is not big enough for the wheelchair. So we take her out of the chair, we walk her into the bathroom, and she holds on to the sink. She can grab a hold of the water faucets, the handles. I have such a hard time with my words, but the hot and water handles. She can hold on to that, or she can hold on to the sink. She usually grabs a hold of those handles. And then we can get her ready from there, and then so she's facing the sink. Then we turn this way and we walk her over to the toilet, because there's the sink and then there's the toilet. So that is how we do it at home. And then when I was gone, depending on what I had to work with, if there was a bar in there, sometimes those bathroom tissue holders, they stick out like this far from the wall, and Micah is short, so I'm 5'1", and Micah's a little shorter than me, so I would have to say, now watch your head right here, because there was no room to have her hold on to the bar on either side of this bathroom tissue holder, because the toilet would be here and then the bar would end, so I couldn't even walk her out away from the toilet, away from this bathroom tissue holder, because the holder and the bar, they would end at the same spot. So that was a little bit of a problem. Not a problem. I just had to make sure I told her, now Micah, be really careful, and I would just watch her, and she did just fine, and she didn't hurt her head, and she seemed just fine. But it did stick out, and it really was in the way. So I would have her hold on to the bar, get her ready to go to the bathroom, and then I would just turn her around backwards and kind of walk backwards with her and get her close. Now this is one thing that I had to, because I don't do this very much at home. And at home I have my routine. So I figured out when I went out somewhere, I have to get her backed up close enough to the toilet to sit her down so that she's where she needs to be, because if I don't get her all the way back, She sits down. I'm not strong enough to like hoist her up, and she's not tall enough to really, she'll try to raise up, but she can't really get a good grip on the floor and really move herself back. Another thing about going into public toilets is they don't have a toilet seat, and they don't have the tank in the back that you can lean up against. So I would always have to stand there and hold Micah's back. So that, because at home we'll put her on the toilet and then we just walk out of the room to give her some privacy, and then knock on the door, Micah, are you ready? You're done? And then she says yes. She always says yes. And then go in and take care of her. But when we were gone, I would have to stand there and I would say, you know, Micah, I'm going to have to stand here with you because there's no back for you to lean against and you're going to get hurt if I let go of you. And she seemed to do really good. Micah is just really cool, and she adjusts and she adapts, and you know, it's a trip and everything's kind of different. And Micah did really well with all of the changes that we had and all the bathroom scenarios that we had. That is what we do with Micah. She is able to assist in going to the bathroom, and that is how we do it in public. That's how we take her to the bathroom at home. That's what we pack in a backpack with the manual wheelchair just going out, and that's what we send in the backpack on the electric chair when she goes to her day program. That is the question of the day, the 2 questions for the day. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much, Justin, for asking those questions. Please ask me more questions to put on Saturday videos. Now let's go say hello to Miss Micah. Hi, Miss Mikey.
Hello.
You look pretty happy today.
Yeah.
Yesterday you must have been tired. It was late in the day.
Yeah.
Are you tired?
No.
No?
No.
You just looked like you were tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's Dada. Dada's laying on my massager, making a bunch of noise.
Okay.
Is he biting you?
Yeah, not hard, but his teeth are
Bobo.
sharp.
I was gonna get him laying on his bed right there, but he got up and moved. Bobo. Bobo. Ow. Dad, what do you think about that?
Oh, it's nice.
This is the first time Dad's laid on this. I get on it every day. I think it's helping me. There's Tarzan sitting outside. And I'm going to change the drapes in here. Those are green. I don't know if they look green on the video. There we go. Green. I'm going to hopefully take those down, but I don't really have a way to hang those because those are up there with cobwebs and hooks. It's drapes that have those drape hooks. And I don't know if I can hang these others up without like changing the whole rod. And this big project I'm doing is not about changing everything by going to the store. It's about changing with what I already have in the house. So I'm working on it, and I'll put it in another video for you. There he is. He went back over to his bed. Hey, Bobo. Hey, Bobo, is that your bed? That's your bed. That's Bobo's bed. And there's all the paint we got all over the floor. I have to come back. I'll do it one day next week. Got the ceiling painted, but we didn't have enough paint, so we have to come back and finish it. You can see right there where there's not enough paint. Bobo went over and found his big old bone. And if the cats get near it, he's growling at them. They won't even be trying to get the bone. They just walk in that direction and he's growling. Huh, Bobo? Is that your bone? Uh-oh. You want to say bye-bye to your friends? You want to blow them kisses? I will look to the hills from whence cometh my help, for my help cometh from the Lord. So I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah.